Coach Dantonio.
Real quick, sort of to build, I guess, on what I said last night. Two turnovers hurt us early, I thought, and taking away just some composure issues. We did recover from that, so we're only down 3-0. I thought the first quarter we played pretty well and played through it. And then they hit the play in the second quarter for the first touchdown, which was a big play, sort of a trick type play, like I said, coverage blown. But I thought that we responded. We come back to make it 10-7, and then we go down the field and for the field goal we have an opportunity to score and make it 17-10, I guess, and it could have been 17-14, so it becomes 17-10 instead. Second half, we come out, respond quickly, and drive down the field. The opportunity to bring it a little closer after their 2-point. They had 2-point drive. 2-minute drive earlier at the end of the first half, which separated us a little bit. So got an opportunity to go to 27-17, but missed a guy in the end zone free. I feel like it's probably pass interference. They don't call it. Tight end's free though. Miss him completely open. And then we missed the field goal with pressure in the field goal. Then after that, it became a little bit more of a they were trying to hang on a little bit physically, and it became a passing game, which they negated with their pass rush. But when you look at the whole thing, I did think we responded. You got to play physically to win in that game. You got to win the physical battles. We didn't win enough physical battles. Good things. There's some other things we need to do better. There were some things that they did that were done very well. I was very impressed offensively with Dobbins. As a running back, electric. And then the quarterback extended plays. We had him back in the backfield a number of times. He extended plays to either throw it or run it. And when he extended plays, it was more positive than negative. So when you look at the whole thing, I did think we competed throughout, but we came up too short. We were going to have to be opportunistic on offense. I think we got to the 50 probably about 7 or 8 times, and then would sort of sputter out a little bit. We got a turnover and threw an immediate interception back to them on a tip. So things like that were happening, and we needed to play a perfect game to win that football game. And we didn't win the turnover margin, which complicates things. And so I'll take some questions.
A minute ago that you need to play a perfect game to win. You said that all week. Also, looking back at it, is there some solace in the fact that it's something close to perfect, and you guys could have or might have or would have beaten the top 5 team in the country? Is there something good there that something close to perfection? It's never possible, but something close to perfection could have gotten you to that level. Is there something you can?
Yeah, I think you can build on those things. They had 16 yards after the first quarter. We had a face mask. We had on a sack. It's inadvertent, but we still stopped them in that situation. But I think the first four series we got off the field defensively. We responded in those situations after we had the turnovers. Also, I think we went down to the field after they scored their first touchdown, and we went back down the field and scored a touchdown. And so we're in the football game. And midway I think with 6 minutes to go in the second quarter, it's 17-10. So we're in the football game, but you've got to play perfect. You can't, we can't drop balls. We can't fumble when we have a catch. We can't have an inadvertent pitch, that's fumbled. We can't give up. We can't try and punch the ball out on a long run. We got to tackle the guy. We got to play through the whistle on the one long one that was in question. Did he fumble or did he not? We stand there looking at the ball and they dive on it. We can't do those things. We got to finish the plays. Consequently, from a coaching perspective, we need to do a better job as well. But it's a team game. We've got to be able to pick up the pieces and all take responsibility. And as I said last night, we've got to be, we'll be defined by what we do next. So we got to get ready to play Wisconsin. Nobody's going to feel sorry for us. You got to continue to push on. You know, when you got 100,000 people yelling at you, it becomes a little bit, more difficult.
Hey, Mark, how did you feel that your team did in terms of the physical matchups? You kind of broke up on me a little bit. How did you feel that your team stood up to Ohio State physically?
I think early on we were there with them. I think as the game progressed, we got tired defensively, and when it became a pass game, we couldn't hold up. We couldn't hold up in pass protection. When it became, okay, hey, we got to pass to get back into this, we couldn't hold up. We were getting beat at the point of attack. From a run perspective, I thought we ran the ball, the same type of runs, inside zone. They ran the inside zone 20 times, and the outside zone 18 times. We ran the inside zone probably equally, as much, not 20. But I thought that we needed to get more movement at times. But I did think we had some runs in there, some positive runs to keep the chains moving. Had a couple, 123-yard run and one, I guess, 11 and 114 or whatever. But they got good players, so got to be able to block them up. They got numbers sometimes too, based on who they have in the box and things of that nature.
Mark Sommer here at the State News. Keelan Gervin got the start over Josh Butler, obviously. I'm curious, was that just a matter of him passing Josh up on the depth chart, or is there something else there? And then could you just assess Keelan's performance from last night?
Yeah, we did not start Josh because he was hampered a little bit with a slight injury, and he had not practiced this week, so I didn't want to put him out there at the corner position have something happen. So played him a little bit on a special teams just to see how he would move, and I think he'll be ready this week. But so that was the reason behind that. I thought Irv did a nice job, but got to tackle better. Missed the tackle on the big long one, and it's something that we work on daily. Tackling, you can't stop your feet in the middle of the field. In the deep part of the field, you can't stop your feet and come to gather when the guy's running full speed at you. And so that 20-yard gain became a 60-yard gain or whatever it was. And that just can't happen. But, it's his first time playing extensively like this. He's a good player. He's got great speed. I think he's one of our better tacklers. But it's his first time out there, high intensity type environment and with a lot on the line. So you got to give him a little bit of a learning curve on those things. But I thought that he did play pretty well. Got beat over the top once, but was incomplete.
Mark, Chris Solari, I wonder if you had any update on Jacob, if it was a long-term situation with him.
No, it should not be.
And I guess when you guys got pressure during the first couple drives, what did you see looking back that changed, maybe especially off the edge with Kenny and the other ends?
I think we got a little bit inverted in terms of maybe a defensive end up the field and getting pressure, and then a defensive lineman pushing from the pocket. Pushing from the interior part of the line, and quarterback did a nice job. Fields did a nice job finding that little open window and extending the play. His 35-yard run down the other sideline opposite us was impressive. Showed his speed. He's a very good player. He's got a good arm, and he can extend plays, and he's tough. I think you can't put the toughness aspect showed up too. I thought he'll take a hit, keep playing, and we put pressure on him, and we covered people, so he had to find people. But as the play, he could extend that play. He had 3 or 4 seconds because he moved his feet in the pocket and got out of the grass to somebody. So it was difficult to tackle back there.
In market, you saw field level last night. You obviously played against and beat a number of very good Ohio State teams. Where does this one stack up against the rest?
I'd hate to disrespect any of those teams, to be honest with you, but this is as good as any of them. I feel like they have pieces on defense to play extremely well. They play about 8 guys up front. Their linebackers are solid, can run, get off blocks. Their secondary is skilled. I was very impressed with Fuller, number 4, at the free safety position. Anticipates and breaks very well on the ball. They're good tacklers in the back end, and they're tied together. They know what they're doing. Then on the offensive side of the ball, they got a big quarterback that can move and extend plays and has arm strength and can take a bad play, make it a good one. Receivers are very, very capable. Offensive line was solid, and they got a tailback or a running back that is extremely good player. Make a guy miss and can cut, and she runs with power. So they've got the pieces. Special teams was a sort of a mixed bag. They got pressure on the field goal. That's one thing that was disappointing in the game from a special teams perspective. And, I don't know if that caused us to miss it, but it certainly didn't help. The first one went under his forearm. It made it.
Hey, Mark, on the
Mark, this is...
Go ahead.
Mark, this is Stephen Brooks. I was curious, with Brandon Wright traveling and Tate Halleck as well. Maybe Tate might have went to Northwestern. I'm not sure if that was his first trip. I believe that was Brandon's first road trip. I know those spots are limited and everything. I'm just curious here, just the thought process behind what true freshmen you want to bring with you. Obviously, we haven't seen either of those guys yet, but what made them, worthwhile to bring on this trip?
Well, Brandon did travel to Northwestern, I think, or maybe, I don't know, maybe he didn't because it's a couple weeks.
I don't remember.
Traveling last week. So Brandon is on some special teams things in a backup capacity, and Tate was a late ad based on a couple injuries, and I just wanted to sometimes take freshmen doing a good job just for them to have the experience in this type of environment, and that was one of the reasons we took Tate. But he's been doing a great job on scout teams, and I think he's also a guy that you can put in and plug in on special teams, and he's a very active football player.
Got time for a couple more, guys.
Mark, you said that the defense kind of wore down or became fatigued or got tired or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but what can be done to prevent that or to try to fix that? I mean, obviously getting off the field and that type of thing, but does that come down to having more depth and more people you can run in there? But how does that get serviced?
Well, they got a couple things happened. I thought in the game that had something to do with that. One, they fastballed us some, especially on third down, so that we couldn't sub people in there. So that would take a toll on you over the course of time. I think the tempo of the game, the way the game was going, this is a highly intense game, and we needed to get ready for it mentally. And I thought the things that started to occur with big plays, as opposed to driving down the field, the big plays can sort of wear on you mentally. It can sort of throw you into a funk a little bit. But if you get out of a gap, they have players that are, or something happens down the field from a pass perspective, they've got players that can go the distance. So that's one of the things that you got to be able to tackle and secure people in the back end as far as tackling and things of that nature, and the ball got out. So that can be, I think, as much as anything, it became a little bit of a source of frustration as the game wore on. Man, they made a play. Come on, let's go. They made a play. And sometimes that can wear on you a little bit when you're used to playing extremely well in those situations. So I think that had something to do with it. And as I said earlier and yesterday, it was a physical game. That was a very physical football game.
And with the early turnovers, that put your defense behind the 8 ball right out the chute right away. Is that something that can also speed up the wear down process? They had to spend probably a lot of bullets to survive that in the early going, or is football, and that shouldn't be or am I right that could burn some fuel?
Well, I thought that, we stopped the first one, so we gained confidence from that. The second one, we also limited it to 3 points. So I thought those two were confidence builders from a defensive perspective. And then we also stopped them, I think, two series beyond that. So I thought we were well in the first quarter, and then we got hit with the one play, makes it 10-0. And, took a little wind out of our sails a little bit, but continued to play on. And you look at the points production thing. We gave up 7 points in the second half, but I don't think it was indicative of how we played. I don't think we played as well as we thought we played. Too many yards, too many guys misfitting gaps, things of that nature. Not getting the quarterback down on the ground when he's trying to extend plays. Got to get him down. And you got to credit Ohio State on those things. Got to credit their players and their abilities as well.
Anything else, guys?
Hey, Mark. Yeah, one more, Ben, if you don't mind. I was going to ask you, Mark. I know last night you were impressed with Brian's game in the immediate aftermath. After being able to review it, I was just curious if anything else stood out to you, or just your further evaluation of how Brian played.
Yeah, I thought he played pretty well under all the circumstances. I thought he made a lot of throws, had a couple drops. He got hit a lot, especially in the second half. Made some plays with his feet in the first half. 2 big first downs. They kept him in the pocket, so he was not able to extend the plays as much as their guy did. But I thought he threw the ball. But he had a pitch that was a little bit hard on the one fumble, and then he threw the one interception. So, but other than that, I thought that he gave us a chance to win. I don't think there's any question that he gave us a chance to win with his play. And but you're always looking for better. But he took some shots.
Course of the week to try to handle number 2 and number 18, the defensive ends, and so forth. Through 3 quarters, I think you said last night you felt that quarterbacks had time to throw. What did you feel about how you guys handled that task of trying to give some pass protection against those pass rushers, and how that came up, how that was done? How do you think that graded out?
I think in the first part of the game, really into the third quarter, that we did pretty well. And then we went down, and the drive, we got down on the 9-yard line up until that drive. Then after that, we were 3 and out. And then all of a sudden, hey, we don't have enough time. We got to throw it. So then it became a throwing game. And when it became that, things changed, as far as their pass rush, their ability to tee off and things of that nature. And they got to us. So probably for the first, 2.5 quarters, or towards the end of the third quarter, it was okay. And then as that change occurred, it became tougher.